So that's the other thing that we were going to talk about today. We were going to go game by game to recap both of these Pacers ones, but I think at the beginning of this episode, we pretty much summed that up to a point. But what we will talk about specifically, like you said, is Devin Vassell's recent performance. But unfortunately, as much as we were starting to build some consistency with Devin Vassell, Ethan, as much as the whole team played, just really bad in that second Pacers game. We are unfortunately coming off this 2 for 8, 2 for 6 performance. But again, that was really the whole team. It wasn't just him. But before that, 5 straight 20-point games for Devin Vassell. I know the Spurs were 2-5 in that point, but I mean, you can't ask for much more from Devin in those games. Maybe if the Miami game you want to criticize is a little bit efficiency wise, but still, he was the only person who could really find a bucket for us in that game. Also, but everything else above 50% from the field, and even in the Miami game, 40% from the field overall. Look at the efficiency on those numbers right there in those 5 games: 25, 23, 21, 21, 23, as well as contributions everywhere else with 2 blocks, 2 steals in that first game against Indiana. You're seeing his defense pop up more. 2 blocks and a steal against Miami, as much as that was a blowout, as well as steals in every single other game, and multiple steals in a couple of them against Memphis and LA there as well. But again, still 6-4, 5-3, 2-5,
Mm.
3-4, 2-3 as well. So always doing, it may not be something crazy, but still finding other ways to contribute than just scoring. And if we can have that consistently, then again, it's a big, you can say well, why hasn't it happened yet? He's still 24. Like, we got to give him a little bit of time. And I was talking with one of our buddies that actually, and as much as we don't want to make excuses for coming off injuries, right, Ethan, they're in the
Mhm.
NBA. Um, Coming off an injury, it does take some time to really get back in rhythm.
Mhm.
And as much as it has been a while kind of since he's came back, when you factor in as well playing with new teammates, that's another thing that adds to this as well. I think that it just took him some time, and that's why. And again, obviously we did have the 2 11-point performances before that with really rough efficiency, but I think that was also a wake-up call, like, okay, I need to just get my crap together and really be laser focused. So definitely there's some things, that Devin individually could fix. It wasn't just all of the things around him, but I think when you
Mm.
combine both of those things, you'd like to think, as much as that Indiana game was bad, that this was a turning point for him and that this is what we can start to see moving forward for him.
Yeah, you can only pray and hope. Knock on wood. You're right. Coming back from an injury, it does take a lot longer than maybe the average fan understands because
Yeah.
we're just not that athletically gifted. Never played on that level competitively. I still think he's trending in the right direction. My only request, I guess, from Devin Vassell moving forward would be that at least 50%, if not more, of his shots need to come from 2 point range.
Yeah.
Because he's being way more aggressive, which I love. He's looking for his shot, but to me, he's still taking way too many threes, which is fine. I know he's a sniper shooting 40% over the last 10
Hmm.
games. All that's great, but he needs to get his offense going in the mid range, if not getting all the way to the basket to open up things for the rest of the team. And then I think maybe we'll see some more wins.
Yeah, well, when you look at that first Indiana game right there, as much as he went 5 for 6 from three, and there was a lot of catch and shoot that was great, still 7 of his shots came from inside the paint. And I think a lot of that penetration, opens up shots for other guys on the perimeter,
Hmm.
um, as well as just him in isolation and being another threat to be creative and consistently be somebody off the dribble in the mid range that they have to worry about on top of Victor. That opens up looks for a Harrison Barnes who went
Mm.
9 for 10 in that game, mainly shooting off the ball, on top of Chris Paul, who can also be an off ball sniper from time to time. Now, Stefan, when I look at him in the starting lineup, that's not necessarily as much the case. But
Hmm.
even then, he was almost kind of playing similar to that Jeremy role where he was more of a glass cleaner, in that
Hmm.
situation and just fighting for boards and being a physical presence. Um, but any final thoughts on Devin? Because that kind of shifts us into the Stefan conversation, which was the other thing we were going to talk about.
Only thing I'll say is Devin is averaging 8 points and 3 rebounds so far versus the Clippers. So let's turn that
Oh
around.
my
I think that's
goodness.
only one game, but let's turn that around, Devin.
Well, here, let's see. We got his schedule up right now. So let's see. Utah, LA, Washington. Hmm.
Right there, Tuesday, 12:31.
There
We
you
won
go.
the game, but he
Yeah.
played like crap.
And that's the only time that the Clippers are on the schedule. So yes, we want a bounce back. As that was one of our other games, that was probably one of our best games of the season there with a 40-point blowout.
Oh, yeah.
And now that I think about it, I actually watched that game specifically New
Mm.
Year's Eve. Nice little fun time there. Did have 3 steals, but oh my goodness, yeah. Let's hope for a much better offensive performance there for Devin. That would be a nice bounce back game for him.